What up, YouTube? It's your boy Marvel of Matter back with another video, and today what I want to do is I want to take a look at the first Handsome Man's Game video I ever seen. This is a long time ago, probably like 5 years ago, and it was at a time when I had gotten out of a long relationship, like 5 years or whatever, and I was back to like dating. Back to trying to get with the girls, but I was struggling, bro. I was struggling bad, and I was struggling. Like, I was trying something different, right? I was trying something different because as a younger, like, I was in a relationship from 21 to like 26. So as a younger dude, I wasn't approaching women. Like, I was in school. You know, I was doing fashion shows. I was doing like different things where I was just around women consistently. So how I would always get them is like I would either be in a class with them or be doing a fashion show with them or some type of way, like some type of interaction through school. So it was all social circle. So in that situation, girls would just make the move and I would just kind of like be like, oh, okay, cool, right? I like this girl. You know, and it would just happen. But it was not really me like going and trying to get a girl, right? I didn't have that skill set. I didn't know what to do. So this time around, when I had broken up with my long-term girlfriend, I'm like, okay, well, I got to figure out how to do this. I got to figure out what to do. Like, how I can't, you know what I'm saying, just wait around because I'm an adult now. So social circle, it's a little bit harder. It works a little bit differently. I'm in a new city. It's not like I know a whole bunch of people like that. So, you know, I have to go out and get it. So I was cold approaching like crazy. This is the time period where I'm telling y'all I was cold approaching, and this is how I know cold approaching doesn't lead to anything. I was not scared to cold approach. I'm not scared to cold approach now. It just doesn't work. So I was doing it all the time. I would go up to girls, tell them I thought they looked good. My style is direct. I would just tell them directly, like, yo, how you doing? I think you look really good. Boom, boom, boom. I would get numbers, of course, right? I would get numbers. I'll get Instagrams. I'll get all that. Not really Instagrams, but I would get numbers. That was my thing. I would go for the number, and I would get them. It was never really an issue for me to get a number, but what came after the number was always just like a couple texts and then ghosted, or just never answered the text, or we text a little bit and then when it's time to go on the date or whatever, nothing. So I was just like not doing well, just not successful. So I'm like, bro, this is not at the time I was like, I guess I must just be ugly. I'm like, that's the only thing that makes sense. I'm like, I guess I had it when I was young and I lost it. I'm ugly now. I was like, that must be what it is. And I would have just kept believing that, except for people would keep telling me I was handsome. Like, women would keep telling me I was handsome. I mean, guys would say it doesn't really mean anything, but they would say like, nah, you a handsome dude, bro. Like, you should, you know what I'm saying? Like, older guys that I respected, stuff like, you know what I mean? So it kept coming up, and I worked as a server. So, you know, guests would leave notes on the receipts like, oh, you're whatever. Like, it just constantly was happening. So I'm like, this is not making sense. Like, why am I hearing this from strangers, people that have no reason to tell me this? Why am I hearing this from these people I know, right? I'm hearing it from both, but it's not translating into my dating. And it's not like I dressed super crazy well, so it's not like I was just in a suit all the time, so people calling me handsome because I'm like in the place to be called handsome. Like, that's not the case. It's just like, that's just what it was. I would just get compliments from, you know, people wearing a server's apron. It don't matter, you know what I'm saying? So it just wasn't correlating, it wasn't making sense to me. So I'm looking at, I don't know what I came across, but something made me go to YouTube and look up like game for good looking men or game for handsome men, right? Because I'm like, I got no game. I know I got no game, but people keep telling me I'm handsome. So, all right, let me find the game for handsome men. So I go to YouTube and I look it up, and I remember like 2 videos that popped up. One was like a Mr. Lucario video, and then the other one was Rom Wills, Game for good looking men, right? That's the first handsome men's game video I ever seen. That's before this was a trend. That's before any of this, before guys started talking about it all the time. Maybe it was already there in the black pill. I'm not sure. I didn't pay attention to the black pill back then, so I'm sure they existed and they were talking about it. But the first one I seen that came across, and resonated with me was definitely Uncle Rom Will's Game for Good Looking Men. If you watch Rom, he got the game. He got the game on lock. Unc got the game on lock. A lot of stuff I learned, a lot of stuff I know is from watching his videos. In addition to one of my boys who just, for some reason, has a whole bunch of game. I don't know where he got it from, but he got a whole bunch of game. And then my own experiences and taking what both of them said and going out and applying it and see does this actually work? Does this situation, if I act like this, is it gonna work? Is it gonna be this? Is it gonna be that, right? And that's how I kind of learned what to do with women, was just from taking what Uncle Rom was saying, taking what my boy was saying, just doing it. So I have the utmost respect for Rom Wills. I think all his videos have value. I've never seen a video that he did that didn't have any value, that was nah, I don't think he's right, because a lot of what he's saying is coming from experience. And that's the difference between the good advice and the bad advice, in my opinion. Is the good advice comes from somebody who's seen and lived and experienced, right? He didn't have to experience every single thing, but he's seen it. He tells a lot of stories about people that he knows that are in a certain position, people that he knows or situations that he's seen, or when he's actually talking to women, they're telling him their real experiences. He's seeing their real experiences, right? That's what I try to do. I try to base everything off of reality, things that I've actually seen, touched, right, heard, felt, dealt with, all these things, because that's real advice. Science is cool, going off of science, going off of statistically, this is how women choose the men that they like. That's cool, right? But there's a limit to it. I mean, people thought for thousands of years or hundreds of years or however long they thought it, that the earth was the center of the universe. That was considered science. But it's it was wrong. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until they saw with their own eyes through the telescope, oh, actually it's the sun that's the center of the universe, right? Seeing is believing. Seeing is knowing. You can think something, you can imagine something, and it can feel like it's real, but until you go out and you try it and you experience it and you see it, it's all just imagination. It's all just imagination. So if you don't have experiences with women, everything you think is invalid. It has not been validated by reality. Reality is the only validator. That's it. It's only reality. So with that being said, I want to dive into this video because this is really the foundation. And this is before the Handsome Man's Game videos, like I said, before they came out. So he's done other videos since then. He has a really popular one called You Can't Try Too Hard, or Don't Try Too Hard If You're Handsome. It's a really good video, but this was just pure advice. You can tell it wasn't nobody else was really talking about it. It was just they asked him about it, and he's just really sharing what he actually seen, what he actually viewed from guys who were considered really handsome by women, the things that they did, the things that they said, the way that they moved with women, right? It's all raw and real advice in this video. So let's get into it.
Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Game for good looking men. Now I know y'all thinking, I was what a good looking man need game for? They good looking. In fact, there's a subculture of men out there. They feel hey, if they just get plastic surgery or something and, get some square jaw, plastic surgery, square jaw, and do all this other stuff, all of a sudden they'll start getting women. Nah. Nah, dog. Nah. You know what good looking really means? Good looking means she'll be a bit more receptive if if you approach her or you're in a position where she can approach you. That's all that means. And notice I said a bit more receptive. It doesn't seal the deal. Because see...
All right, so right there I want to stop it because I want to clarify. That's true most of the time. It's just a bit more receptive, but if she finds you, actually, let me let the man talk.
And I've said this in other videos, you know, just because a man is good looking doesn't mean a woman automatically considers him sexy or it gets her panties wet. Because there's a lot more into it. Because this is something I talk about all the time. You know, I always talk about like that sexual aura and stuff, especially in my most recent pay video. You know, developing sexual magnetism. You know, a man can look two ways. There's two types of good looking. There's that, you know, aesthetic good looking, where, you know, the dude, you know, he's handsome according to some supposedly objective standards, you know, pleasing to look at. And then there's sexy good looking, where a woman wants to jump his bones. The issue with a lot of good looking men is that they're not that sexy thing, you know, to women. Because
that's the key. That's the key difference. Because when you were saying when you're good looking to a woman, it only makes her a bit more receptive. That's true. But if you're sexy to her, then that increases. That receptiveness increases drastically if you're sexually appealing to her. And that's the thing that, you know, the subculture people that he was talking about, I believe that's the black pill. That subculture doesn't understand sex appeal. They only understand looks. And so they think, okay, as long as you objectively look like this, you're gonna get the response of, you know, some of the guys that they see getting very good responses from women. They think, oh, okay, it's just because, you know, he looks good. But one thing y'all gotta understand is, like, y'all only seeing people who are in the public eye. Like, maybe you know a couple people, maybe you know some people that's good looking, maybe you know some dudes that's like studs or whatever, but like, you're really only seeing people that are in the public eye for the most part. So what you got to understand about that is you're seeing people who are also charismatic. They're also extroverts. They're also outgoing. So their personality has a lot to do with, or what women perceive their personality to be has a lot to do with, you know, them getting girls. Their status has a lot to do with them getting the reaction that they're getting from girls. Some people, yes, they're gonna get a strong reaction from girls, but it's only gonna go somewhere. It's only gonna be, you know, a fruitful interaction if you have the charisma to back it up. If you have that sexual aura that he's talking about to back it up. And that's what makes the girls go crazy. What gets the girls' attention is you being good looking, but what makes them go crazy is that sex appeal, is that aura that he's talking about, right? So when you look at the Kings or whatever, like, he also has a confident aura. He's tall as hell as well. That helps. But he also has that aura of, like, he's just calm, cool, collected. When you watch these streamers, they're always confident. They're always, you know, calm, cool, collected. They're not nervous. That energy is always confident. You don't see guys who are just not confident do crazy good with women. You might see them get a girl or two, right? You might watch a show, like, I remember there was a Love Island season, and there was a dude who was, like, you know, aesthetically pleasing, tall, all that, and he got a girl that looked really good on the show, but he didn't have all the girls going crazy over him because he didn't have that, like, appeal, right? So being good looking, yes, it will get you some of the girls, but the guys who get the most girls, the guys who got, like, you know, the Kings, I showed y'all that dude the other day, ugly TV. If you watch his monkey videos, the girls are going crazy over him. Now they go crazy off the looks, but then he throws on the charm as well, and then they go even crazier. If you watch streamers who go on Monkey app, you'll see they have, like, a certain charisma about them. Most of them anyways. So that sex appeal, in addition to the good looks, is what really makes women receptive.
Really, you know, there's this false belief that, you know, if a man isn't getting women, he's automatically ugly. It was like, no, there's a lot of nice guys, good guys, who are physically good looking. I've met plenty. Because the women will even say it. And I've known women who would go on dates with these guys and they just be like, you know. I mean, I've met, you know, and this goes across races. I mean, I've met some dudes who look like superstars, you know, look like Ken dolls and whatnot. And, you know, meet a woman, you know, or know a woman that goes out with them. In fact, I've set up some couples and they'd be like, and then they'll go out, you know, they turned out though by that guy who, you know, maybe doesn't look as physically good, but just has something about him that gets the woman nice and wet. So, you know, the looks are important. And when I say looks, let me be clear. I'm just talking about like a handsome face. Because that's one of the things that we really have to clear up. You know, it's not about the overall body, but more like, oh, does he have a handsome face? And, you know, and I mean, I get guys, even on some of my videos, they argue this day, oh, it's just the looks. Or it's just the face. No, it's not, man. No, it's not. There's probably a woman out there, women take it into consideration. But if that dude is boring to her or he don't look like he can fuck, let's just be real. That woman she still won't be like, damn. He was alright till he opened his mouth, or he's boring, something like that.
So yeah, the misconception that if you're not doing well with women, it's automatically because you're ugly, that's not true. That's not true. Because a lot of times it's your behavior. It's your behavior. You're not confident in yourself. You're, you know, and it's clear, like the same way you can look at people and tell any emotion that they're feeling, like it's pretty easy to read human beings. Right, so you might think, okay, you're hiding it or you're doing a good job, but like it's very easy to tell when somebody's not confident. It's very easy to tell when somebody's nervous, you know what I'm saying, when somebody's happy, when somebody's sad, like all the emotions, you can tell pretty easily how somebody's feeling and what they're doing. Like your body language gives you away so much, and body language is something that is very important in being attractive. It's very important. Your body language is betraying you if you're not confident, and there's not really much you can do about it. So if you look good, but your body language is like, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm uncomfortable in my own skin, then it doesn't really matter how good you look. Like you're still going to be just unattractive. You're still going to be unattractive. Now, I will say with like younger girls, it doesn't matter as much. So if you're like a teenager, right? If you're a teenager, or if you're like very, very early 20s, you can kind of get away with not really being confident. Like myself, when I was younger, I was able to get away a little bit more with like not being as confident, but it doesn't work once you get older. Like once you're past college, or like even in college, like if you don't have the body language to back up your good looks, it's kind of like, you're not going to do well. That's how average guys will get better looking girls than dudes that look good, because they have that confident body language. They're actually confident. That shit goes a long, long way, bro. It goes a long way. Like think about like even some girls, like if they just, like I'm thinking of a specific girl that I know, like she's physically beautiful. Like she's a beautiful girl. I can think of two of them actually off the top of my head. Two girls I know in person are physically very gorgeous, but they have no like sexuality to them. They're kind of like gangly and goofy and like, you know what I'm saying? Like one of them in photographs, you know, she looks really, really attractive, but then when she's like out and about, she's like younger. She's like around early 20s or whatever. She's almost like a kid, like the way she moves, her body language, she kind of like hunches over. Like it doesn't look anything like the picture, and it's unattractive, right? It is a turnoff. And this is coming from a man, right? And usually men, we don't care at all really, or very, very little about that. Like it's really just the physical appearance, but women care a lot about the way you move, the way you know, your confidence is, the way you carry yourself. They care way more about that, right? So if you're a guy who, even though you look physically appealing, but you are nervous and looking around and you're not comfortable in your own skin and you can't stand up straight and, you know, stick your chest out and like and it doesn't even have to be that, but it's just like you're not comfortable in your body. People can tell, girls can tell, and it's a huge turnoff.
So the thing is with a guy, right? He's good looking, and people tell him that. And what happens is a lot of guys, they'll say, hey, well, all these people tell me I'm good looking. They tell me I'm cute, and I'm still having trouble getting women. And you still need some game, bro. You still need some game. You still, like, if the woman sees you and she feels like that you're attractive, you still have to have that conversation with her. In some cases, even if she's sending you some choosing signals, right? She still expect you to approach. And even if she's aggressive enough to approach you, you still got to make that connection. Also, too, you got to do all that. You still got to have some style. Because I've known some cats, physically, women thought they were good looking, cute. Having trouble. They changed their style a little bit, maybe let the hair grow out, let some facial hair grow in, and they turned out to be better. It was like, oh, okay. Also, too, there's another angle to all of this.
I'm gonna stop it right there just to address the style thing real quick. That's really, really important. That's very, very important. That's the thing that changed my reality with girls. To be honest, I always talk about it, but I'm gonna always talk about it because that's the thing that just was the easiest to change and had the most drastic results. The most instant results is if you change your style. If you go from somebody who doesn't have any style, any swag, you know what I mean, and then you change it up and you look more the part, like you're not gonna look better, like your bone structure is not gonna change, but if you look more sexually appealing, right? You look more like the guys who are the sexy guys, right? You have a fresh cut, you dress a certain way, you add accessories, maybe you get tattooed. Like I don't have any tattoos, but you get, maybe if you're into that, you get tattoos and you'll look more sexy to them, and that's gonna help you as well, right? That style makes a big difference,
right? A good-looking guy, especially if he's extremely good-looking, right? A good-looking guy still, some things he can't do is if he does certain things, it's gonna mess him up. Because while maybe is not the total thing to get a woman, if she see a guy and he good-looking and he behave a certain way, it turns off. Like one of the best examples, if a good-looking guy is a little too aggressive or thirsty, the first thing the woman thinks is, what's wrong with him? Now, I remember I was doing a book signing at this mall, right? And I was outside the bookstore, and I was chilling. And I always pay attention to people. And I saw this young guy, I was there with my lady. And I saw this young guy. We saw this young guy who was like going up to all these women in the mall and asking them for their phone number, being all pressed and everything. And she said, you know what? He didn't need to do all that. Because he already looked good. He had to chill. See, one thing with a good-looking guy, they have to be aggressive still. They still have to have that conversation. But they can't be overly aggressive. Because then the first thing the woman thinks is something's wrong with him. He almost has to... It's a balance that truly good-looking guys have to do. They got to be cool. I think that's the best word. They got to know how to be cool. They still have to look like they getting some play. Because see, when they approaching women, like you get some of the more aggressive ones, I'm telling you, the woman is sitting back thinking, what's wrong with him? Why is he approach? He looks good. He don't have to approach like that. Why is he doing it?
And that right there is the fundamental of handsome men's game, right? That's the fundamentals right there. You cannot be thirsty. You cannot be trying too hard. You cannot be the one who needs it. You can't be the one who needs it. You can't be performative and like trying to get her. Like maybe, like I said, young women, it's a little bit different. You can get away with a bit more because looks are heavier. They weigh looks heavier. But once you hit like 23, that shit is done. that shit is over with. Like you can no longer just be handsome, just be cute, right? That's not gonna do it anymore. Because now she's dealt with attractive guys, so now her guard is up. Young girls, their guard is not really up like that. And honestly, that was back then. Now it's probably different. Like now, even young girls, it's probably not working. That's probably why y'all, the young black pill dudes, why they so mad, why they struggling so much, is because like the girls are way more mature now. So 18-year-old already done dealt with a bunch of handsome dudes. She already knows, she's already seasoned. She already knows, like, nah, you got to come with more than just being handsome, right? Now they're just naturally inclined to care more about the looks, but really, if she's an experienced 18-year-old, she's not gonna really fall for it either. So you're gonna have to come with some game. You're gonna have to come with some understanding what he's talking about, which is that balance. That balance. You can't just come in like, oh, I'm handsome, so here it is. Like that's not what it is. You can't be so thirsty for her. You have to have a little bit of nonchalance, a little bit of like you get some play. Like if you had 10 girls, you wouldn't be thirsty for one girl. And she expects you to be like that. And the dudes that she thinks are sexy, that are, cool, that are the ones I was just talking about when I'm saying like they're tatted and they got the style and they got the accessories and their cuts always fresh and they know how to dress and they swaggy, right? Those dudes, they not coming to these girls pressed, I promise you. The way they're moving, watch those monkey videos. Watch Ugly TV. Watch one I just found. He's really, really good at this, is DC the GOAT. And watch Jameer. There's more streamers. There's Jay Throck is really good too. But those three that I mentioned, the first three, those dudes, it's all completely different styles. Ugly TV is like funny, charismatic, outgoing, having fun with them. DC the GOAT is literally, he's the no thank you guy. He's like, no thank you, no thank you. I literally found his videos like 3 days ago. No thank you, no thank you. He's rejecting the girls. He's argumentative with them, but he still gets them. And then Jameer is just smooth, suave player, right? Just player. All three styles work, right? But what they all have in common is they're not thirsting over the girl. They're not like, oh man, can I like, wow, you're so beautiful. Can I date you? Like it's like they all start the videos off like, what's up? And they let the girls react to them, and they let if the girl doesn't react to them right away, they talk to them regularly. Like, oh, where you from? What you doing? What's the, like? Oh, okay, that's you in school right now. Like they'll just have regular conversation with them, and then eventually, as the video goes on, if the girl didn't already reveal that she likes them, she reveals it later on. But check those out. Those are really good for seeing how to interact with girls. Now the girls are interacting differently than they would in real life. Like they're being a lot more open, a lot more themselves, which is good because then you get to see that side of the girls as well. And you realize, oh, this is who they really are. Right? This is who they really are. When they're in their room, they're safe behind their computer screen or their phone screen, and they can skip whenever they want. They talk way more loosely. They seem way more comfortable. Right? They have the power. They're in a position where they feel comfortable because they have the power. They've been skipping dudes all night. So when they come across a dude that looks good, they're like, oh, wow, like you look so good. And then they react the way they actually would react if they weren't, shy, or if they weren't worried about being judged like they are in person in real life, when there's other people around. So watch those videos. They're really helpful to see how dudes who get girls talk to girls. It's very, very helpful. But yeah, like he's saying, you can't be thirsty. You got to have balance. You got to be confident. That's what I was saying earlier. You got to have that confidence. Your body language, everything has to say, like, you got to fit the part, right? You got to fit the part. It's like, I remember I had an acting teacher who told me, I was uncomfortable in class one time. I was reading for this character that was supposed to be suave, but I was like nervous because I hadn't acted in a little bit. And she literally stopped me in the middle of class in front of everybody. It was like you're gonna get roles for leading men, for good looking guys, but you're not acting like that. Like you're not acting like you're a good looking guy. So they're gonna call you in to the role, you're gonna get the audition, and they're gonna be like, wait, why is he acting like this? All right, next. And she's like, you're not gonna book the roles because you don't have the confidence, you don't have the body language, you don't have all that. And it's the same way with girls. Like when they see you, they're expecting you to be a certain way. So when you're not that, it's like, oh, okay, this is what's wrong with him. It's weird. Like he keeps saying, what's wrong with him? Why is he doing this? Why is he behaving like this? Because the guys that they've dealt with before in the past that were good looking like you, they weren't acting like that. The girl was chasing them. They weren't chasing the girl, right? So all that to say, don't be thirsty. Don't be thirsty. Like, you can have conversation, you can build connection, but don't like open the floodgates and open everything up and just, you know, be so open with the girl. Like, let her work to get to know you. Let her work to be involved. Don't be so, just don't be desperate. Like, nobody likes desperate energy.
All right. So she's sitting there thinking that, but at the same time, you can't be totally passive. So it's almost like you have to be cool about it. You, like, for example, that young guy I saw in the mall, he'd be better off if he just sat back and chilled a bit, maybe hang with some other dudes. Like, I know this one dude, right? And this, yeah, I know, Rom know everybody, but this one dude, this dude is one of those dudes, you look at him and say, damn, dude, look good, no homo, right? He said he would hang out with some guys and stuff, but he would just be chill. And I'll never forget what he said. He said he'd be hanging with them. They approach some women, start talking to him, and the women would always look back at him and say, who's your friend? Right? And he said he'd just be in the back working, sipping on a Slurpee or something, just chilling. But see, he played it right. He was kind of laid back, Like another time, like, this is a good guy. I remember me and him were in a strip club, right? And it was funny just watching all the strippers come to him, but he wasn't aggressive. He was just kind of sitting back chilling, right? But he knew when to be aggressive, when to step up. See, the game for a good-looking guy, you have to be balanced. And it's like, it takes practice. You can't be too passive, because then a woman's sitting back like, I don't know. And then, to be honest, if a woman's too aggressive, she's usually some other issue that you might have to deal with that you might not want to deal with. But then if you're too aggressive, she's like, what's wrong with them? You can't be thirsty. I think that's the best way to say it. You got to be cool. You got to look like you get play and got a woman, even if you really don't. You have to behave that way, because they're going to assume you do anyway, or you got some women chasing after you, And another thing, too. If just keep friends. Like, if you don't have a woman, right, be honest. If you know any females, just say, I just have friends, and don't clarify what that actually means. Because if you tell a woman you don't have somebody, they think you're lying. And then if you tell her you do have somebody, unless they skanks or something, they ain't gonna want to mess with you. Some women will, but you don't really want that woman who's going to step to you anyway or deal with you anyway, and you done told her you had a girlfriend. So it's like, just keep it ambiguous. Just like, hey, I got friends. And if they try to probe further, just be like, hey, I don't really talk about what I do with my friends. You're not really lying to them. I mean, all you do is maybe, they can all have you in a friend zone for whatever reason. But it's what you do. You're just not going to talk about it with this person you just met. And then just take it from there. Just be cool. And another piece of game advice for the good-looking man: don't assume every woman think you're good-looking. That's why you gotta chill. Cause see, some dudes, they get, they let that shit go to their heads and wonder, like, think women should just go for them. Sometimes a woman just don't think you look good, man. She think you alright. And guys can't let that go to their heads. So if you good looking, ultimately you gotta just play it cool. You can't look thirsty. That's the main thing. I mean, all men shouldn't look thirsty, but especially like a guy who's been told he's good looking. He can actually get away with being chilled. That's the beauty of it. He can just be like whatever, So anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
So yeah, be chill, be cool, He says something. What else? He said something I wanted to respond to. What did he say?
But especially, like a guy who's been told he's good looking. You gotta just play it cool. You know, she think you alright.
Oh, that's what it was. He was saying, not every girl's gonna think you're good looking, even if you're good looking, right? And that's what I was saying about types. So types matter. If you're good looking objectively, but you're not the girl's type, you don't have the swag that she likes, you don't have the style that she likes, you're still not really gonna do great with that type of girl, with that girl in particular. It just is what it is. So yeah, just be cool. Be confident, so your body's language says that you're confident. That's much more attractive. Women care about that a lot. It makes everybody more attractive, but it makes you as a handsome man 1,000 times more attractive when you actually have the body language, you actually have the behavior, you actually have the full package, and you don't just look like, okay, you look good, but then, oh, you're not actually a good looking guy, you just happen to look good. You're not actually an attractive man, you just look good. There's so many guys that girls can talk to that look good, so like when you don't have that extra layer, they figure it out and then they don't want to deal with you anymore. I've experienced that plenty of times. So yeah, that's the video for today, man. Shout out Uncle Rom. Always got the best advice, the best videos. This is the original Handsome Man's Game video, right? Before they even called it Handsome Man's Game, he said game for good looking men. Like, this is the original. So I was watching it the other day and I was like, this is a great foundation to like touch on and, you know, share with y'all. So that's it, the video for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Drop some more topics in the comment section. I got my coaching calls in the description box, Instagram in the description box. And y'all know what it is. It's mind over matter, Marvel over matter. Let's get it.